Classic Tales, Level 3. Mulan. Retold by Rachel Bladen. Read by Penelope Rollins. Published and copyright Oxford University Press, 2017. In a small village in China, a girl called Mulan lived with her family. Mulan had a baby brother and an older sister, and her mother and father were weavers. They made beautiful silk cloth and sold it in the town near their village. Mulan loved her mother and father very much, and she liked to help them. But she did not want to be a weaver. Mulan liked to go and look for wood with her father, and she liked to ride with him into town on her horse to sell the family's silk. Mulan's father was old, and he had a bad leg. Sometimes he could not ride to town, and then Mulan went alone. One day, Mulan arrived in town without her father and saw many people. "What are these people doing?" Mulan asked a woman.
"The emperor wants one man from every family to go and fight for him," the woman said. "These people are looking at the emperor's list of names. The men on the list must go and fight for the emperor at Black Mountain. Soldiers are going to come and take them there."
Mulan looked at the list, and she saw her father's name. Mulan was afraid. "My father is old, and his leg is bad," she thought. "He can't fight for the emperor. But his name is on the list because he is the only man in our house. My brother is only a baby." All day, Mulan thought about the emperor's list. Mulan said nothing about the list to her family that night. But the next morning, she got up quietly and woke her sister. "The emperor's men want to take our father," said Mulan. "They want him to be a soldier. But he is too old, and his leg is bad. So I am going." "You?" cried Mulan's sister. "But you are a girl. You can't be a soldier." "I must do this for our father," said Mulan. "Help me, sister. Tie my hair and find some of our father's old clothes for me." So Mulan's sister tied her hair and brought her some old clothes. Mulan put her things in a bag and said goodbye. "Don't go, Mulan!" her sister cried, and the tears fell down her face. But Mulan went quietly out of the house. Mulan got onto her horse, looked up at her house one last time, and rode away. All that day, Mulan rode and rode. That night, she arrived at the Yellow River, and there she slept. The next day, she rode into the mountains. That evening, she arrived at Black Mountain and saw the emperor's soldiers. One of them came to see her. "I am the son of Wahoo," Mulan said. "I am here to fight for the emperor."
"My name is Wen Yu,"
said the soldier.
"Go and sleep. Tomorrow, we are going to ride over the mountains. We have to fight a big battle."
The next morning, Mulan woke early. She rode with the soldiers over the mountains, and at last they saw the enemy. "I'm not a soldier," Mulan thought, and she was afraid. But then she thought of her father and mother, her sister and her baby brother, and she felt brave. Mulan rode fast down the mountain, and she fought with the enemy soldiers. Mulan fought and fought, and at last the emperor's men won the battle.
"You are a good soldier,"
Wen Yu said to her that night.
"You fight well, and you ride well."
After that, Mulan fought in many battles. She was always brave and fought well, and soon all the emperor's men knew about her.
"That boy, Wahoo's son, is a good soldier,"
they said.
"Nothing can hurt him or his horse."
Wen Yu always rode next to Mulan. Many times he was hurt or fell off his horse, and she helped him. And many times he helped her too.
"You are a good friend to me,"
Wen Yu often said to her.
"A very good friend."
In the day, Mulan rode over the mountains with the emperor's soldiers, and she laughed and sang. But at night, she always thought of her little brother, her sister and mother, and her old father. For 12 years, Mulan fought for the emperor with her friend Wen Yu. The emperor's men won many battles, and at last, the enemy soldiers went home. The emperor spoke to his best soldiers.
"You are good men,"
He said.
"Come and work for me in my towns, and you can have new horses and lots of money." "Let's go and work for him,"
Wen Yu said to Mulan. Mulan looked at him sadly. "I can't, Wen Yu," she said. "I must go home to my family. They need me." The next morning, Mulan got up early and went out to her horse. But Wen Yu heard, and he ran after her.
"You are my friend, always,"
he said.
"Goodbye."
"Goodbye, Wen Yu," said Mulan. She turned and rode away, and tears fell down her face. At last, Mulan arrived in her village and rode up to her house. There was a tall boy outside. "Hello, my brother," she said. "Go and find your father. Tell him Mulan is home." The boy ran into the house, and soon an old man came out.
"Mulan,"
her father said.
"Is it you, my daughter?"
"It is me," said Mulan. And her father fell to his knees and cried. Now, at last, Mulan took off her soldier's clothes. She took down her hair, and she dressed in her woman's clothes. Mulan lived happily with her family again. She looked for wood with her brother. She helped her mother and sister. And she rode to town to sell silk with her father. But every day, she thought about Wen Yu. Then, one day, a soldier came to the house.
"Hello, Mr. Hua,"
he said to Mulan's father.
"I am Wen Yu. I am working for the emperor in the town near here. Your son and I were soldiers together." "Not my son, but my daughter,"
said Mulan's father, and he called for Mulan. Mulan came out, and for a minute, Wen Yu could not speak.
"Is it you?"
he said at last.
"You are a woman?"
Mulan told Wen Yu everything, and he looked at her.
"You are brave and good and beautiful,"
he said.
"And you are my friend. Always."
After that, Wen Yu often came to the house. Mulan's family loved him, and Mulan did too. One beautiful summer day, Mulan and Wen Yu got married. They were husband and wife now. Mulan worked for her family, and Wen Yu worked for the emperor. She helped him, and he helped her. And they were friends. Always. Glossary. Afraid. Alone. Battle. Brave. Emperor. Enemy. Face. fought. Past tense of fight. Got married. Past tense of get married. Hurt. Knees. Leg. List. Mountain. Ride. Past tense, road. River. Sang. Past tense of sing. Sell. Past tense, sold. Silk. Soldier. Tears. Tie. Took down. Past tense of take down. Took off. Past tense of take off. Town. Village. Weaver. Woke. Past tense of wake. Won. Past tense of win. Wood.